And I just remember the look on her face. She was like I don't know if it was as in bad or as in like what is this.
Yeah.
At least I felt it was the like what is this kind of thing. And so she said, this is very different. And I was like about to start packing my bag up to leave, because I was like, okay, well, this is not going well. And she said, different is good. She said, in this case, different is good. She said there are hundreds and hundreds of barbecue sauces on the market, and they all taste the same. This is different. She said, I've never tasted anything like this one before.
Hi everyone, I'm Arjun, and welcome to Season 2 of My First Sale, the podcast where I take you under the hood to see what all you need to do to start your own e-commerce business. We're going to hear from people who are right in the thick of it, and I'm honored to welcome my 7th guest to the show, Aubrey Lenyard. Also, keep in mind that this interview was recorded before the COVID-19 pandemic, and things may have changed since this taping. Thank you so much for being here, Aubrey. I've been really excited to do this for a while.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, Arjun. I appreciate it.
Maybe if you want to start by talking a bit about what your business is, what it's called, and what you do.
Sure. The name of my company is AubSauce, and I am a small batch barbecue sauce company. I have 3 flavors. I have a Spicy Peach, a Fiery Pineapple Mango, and an original AubSauce.
And they are delicious. Let me just say, I've tried them all.
Thank you so much. Thanks for saying that.
So, why barbecue? I mean, have you always been a big barbecuer?
Not really. The idea came from a conversation with a friend of mine. This is a woman that I literally speak to every day. And so she is one of those foodie types. And so she was looking for a recipe one day for a peach barbecue sauce for a pork loin that she was cooking. And so I don't know, for some reason, I just felt like, oh, that's something that I think I could make, or I could come up with this recipe. And I did. And I brought that sauce to work one day and just shared it with a friend of mine. And his reaction was sort of shocking. He just kind of went on and on. And he's not one of those type guys to, react like that. He just thought that it was the best thing that he had tasted. And so I made it again, and I just kept getting that reaction. And I thought that, hey, maybe I have something here and I should try it. And so I launched a Kickstarter at the end of 2018, and it was quite successful. I raised $10,000. And so in the new year of 2019, I started AubSauce.
Wow, that's fantastic. I feel like I hear that from some people, is that they, especially when they're the creators of the product, if that's like your background, then sometimes you're just making this thing for yourself, and then you show it to somebody or you give it to somebody, and their enthusiasm is sort of what spurs you to go on with
Absolutely.
things. Have you always been somebody who is interested in food and in cooking? And
yes. I like to say I did not, I'm a big guy for your listeners, and I like to say that I did not get this size through osmosis. I actually had to work at it. And so I absolutely love food. And yes, and sometimes, like when I was coming up with the recipes, I could actually taste the recipes in my head. I knew for sure like what I wanted the pineapple mango sauce to taste like, and so I could taste it. And I mean, literally, I had not put a morsel in my mouth, but in my head, I knew what the recipe should be, and that was something that just kind of happened.
That is crazy to me. Like I think that type of understanding of like the complexities of how different foods go together is something that often can really just come naturally to people.
Yes.
And the idea that you were able to know exactly what it's going to taste like before even trying it.
And I think before this, I would not have considered myself like a good cook. I don't think. I mean, I do it and do it well, but probably coming up with recipes or something like that, that's not normally something that I would have tried to do, but I kind of find that it's a hidden talent.
What gave you the confidence to go from making recipes that you knew about to actually creating them yourself?
So after that first one with the sauce, it was the reaction that I received from my friends. I mean, they acted like it was the best thing that they had ever tasted. And so I don't know if they were actually just blowing my head up. And so you know this, we teach customer discovery.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to hear what other people had to say about it, not just my friends who love me, but I just started reaching out to friends from social media, and just say, hey, if I sent you some sauce, this is something that I'm trying, would you be willing to taste it? And there's one guy in particular that was he had that same reaction, and I thought, like, hey, maybe I really do have something. So.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I feel like a lot of times, you talked about the customer discovery process. Something that happens when we're doing this is we put our product out there, right? And we try to get people to give us feedback on it. And we try to, at least in a software business, incorporate a lot of those people's feedback and try to attune the product to what our early customers really want. I don't know, is that something that happens when you're making food? Like, do you actually take into account those people's suggestions?
Absolutely. So for me, let's take the first sauce, which was the Spicy Peach. I particularly do not like a lot of heat in food. However, I wanted a happy medium. Like, I wanted to hear from people that loved sauce that was extremely hot, to people who did not like heat at all. And I wanted something that was right in the middle. And I think that's what I find. Even though I call the sauce Spicy Peach, I think I probably should have called it Warm Peach, because it's just this warm sensation that you get in your mouth. And just like on the back of your tongue. So yes, I really did pay attention to, and do pay attention to what people say and their opinions, but it still has to be my decision, and I have to make sure that it's something that I could live with. So
Yeah, that makes sense. So at this point, are you at the stage where you're not taking people's like you have a formula and you make it the same way every time?
Absolutely. Now? So I am working on a new sauce now, but I'm working on a strawberry. So it's strawberry, balsamic, and rosemary.
Ooh.
So a great combination. And so while I'm just about positive, I'm about 95% sure that I'm there, but I am doing a little customer discovery on that one. I just want to hear what people have to say.
Yeah. But the other 3 ones that you made
they're set. They're
set.
done. Yep.
Okay. And you also mentioned earlier that you had always been cooking for things, and when you started making these and you started hearing people's feedback, it convinced you that was something that you could actually pursue to a greater degree. Was this really the first time that you had, gone out and tried to create a recipe or create a dish? And I guess, like, why was it that you think barbecue was that dish?
I have no idea. Because what's so interesting about the barbecue sauce, like, I would not consider myself a huge barbecue fan. I don't eat beef or pork. I am truly a chicken man, and there's no doubt my grandmother would say to me, hey, what would you like for lunch, or what would you like for dinner? And I would say chicken. And she would tell me all the time, you're gonna fly away one day, because I could eat chicken every day. But okay, so I digress.
Wait, so you said you don't eat beef and you don't eat pork?
No.
At all?
At all.
So what do you eat your barbecue sauce with?
Chicken.
Just chicken?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming...
And seafood. I
really?
do love salmon, so I love grilled salmon.
With barbecue sauce?
I have a special sauce. So the pineapple mango sauce is amazing on grilled salmon.
Huh. This is fascinating. So I'm a vegetarian.
Okay.
But my understanding of having grown up in the South, that barbecue a lot of times is traditionally eaten with beef or pork. Is that right?
Absolutely, yes.
And, like, do you think that's the use case that people, like your customers, are most often eating with, or?
Yes. I am told that the Spicy Peach is fabulous for pork. However, I've never had it on pork.
Oh my God! Wow.
I absolutely love my peach on pulled chicken. I think the peach on pulled chicken is delicious.
That's really interesting. Do you think that there are specific types of flavors that go into barbecue sauces that work better with different meats than others?
Oh yeah, I would say like if more of the fruity flavors would go best with pork, and then if you are more of a vinegary type person, I would say then that would be like the beef.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And another thing that my understanding of barbecue is still pretty surface level, but from what I have ascertained, there's a lot of regionalism to barbecue sauces.
Absolutely. Like you'll hear that white barbecue sauce is from Alabama, and then you might hear that more of the vinegary would be from one of the Carolinas. Yeah, I don't really subscribe to any of those, mainly because my sauces have a little of everything in it. There is mustard, and then there is vinegar, and then there is brown sugar, so some of the things that that most people would say, oh no, this is only in the Carolinas that you would find this. There's actually a mix in mine.
And so, was that intentional, or it just happened to be the case?
I think that just happened to be the case.
Interesting. And so now you're at this point where you have 3 flavors that are on the market, they're on your website, and people are buying them. Are you still making every single bottle?
Oh, absolutely not. So right after I finished the Kickstarter, the first thing that I did was I found a co-packer. And so a co-packer is a company that you would work with. You work with them on your recipe, and they will then be responsible for making the product, bottling it, and then labeling it for you.
Wow.
And so I found this awesome company in Decatur, not too far from where
Nice.
I live. And so I work with them, and it is a great relationship because that allows me not to have to incur that price of building or creating a like a kitchen.
Right. And I imagine that, especially when you're making something that's like, at least to me, like, food is a very personal thing to be making, and like having somebody who's actually creating the product that you invented, that you designed, like that has to be a lot of trust between you and them to be able to say like, yeah, I believe that you can do it to the same quality, or at least close to the same quality that I would want. How did you pick that person?
So that's really hard, and I think I can sometimes be considered a little controlling, and I'm sure I worry her to death because I'm always interested in what the label looks like. I'm interested in the color. I'm interested in the flavor, the consistency. All of these things are very important to me. So what I didn't mention is AubSauce is not just a regular barbecue sauce. It's a gourmet barbecue sauce.
Right.
Okay, and so while we say it's a small batch, it really is small batch. We make probably about 20 gallons at a time. So it's very important to me to maintain a certain level. And luckily, the lady that I work with, I think she understands that is something that is very important to me. And so she feels those calls, and like right after a batch is done, the first thing we discuss is, like, hey, I think, this is a little off, or, this color doesn't match, the last batch or whatever, but we're constantly, growing and constantly getting it right.
Yeah.
We're almost there.
How did you decide that she was the right person when you first started working with her?
So going into the first meeting with her, the first sauce that she tried was the peach sauce. And she just there's actually a photograph on my Kickstarter page of the tasting that we did, and I just remember the look on her face. She was like I don't know if it was as in bad or as in like, what is this?
Yeah.
At least I felt it was the like, what is this kind of thing. And so she said, this is very different. And I was like about to start packing my bag up to leave because I was like, okay, well, this is not going well. And she said, different is good. She said, in this case, different is good. She said there are hundreds and hundreds of barbecue sauces on the market, and they all taste the same. This is different. She said, I've never tasted anything like this one before. Yeah. And so from that moment, I sort of felt like she was very mothering. Like, while I don't need a mother, but in this case, I did. I did not know much about the manufacturing of products, and I just felt like this is the person that's going to take care of me. And she pretty much has.
Wow.
Yep.
So, again, my knowledge is pretty surface level, but it does seem like, a lot of times you go to the store, you'll see a ton of different barbecue sauce in front of you. I mean, I feel like most barbecue joints you go to, you're going to see like, oh, we have our own special sauce or whatever. It's like, what does make yours so different, and was whatever that is intentional, or just happen to be the case?
So so we can take the pineapple mango sauce. I don't know that there are a lot of pineapples or mangoes in barbecue sauce.
Fair enough.
So I did not look around. I didn't do that that search where I was trying to see like what was out there. I created what I wanted to what I wanted to eat, and so I think it has resonated with people. The peach, believe me, there are peach sauces on the market, but I think it's the way that my sauce is made. I use all local products, and that's very important to me. And like I said, we make it in small batches. And so while you might think that, oh, well, if you're only making 20, gallons of sauce, then that means, it shouldn't cost that much. Well, actually, it costs more, because the least amount that you make, the most, it costs more,
right,
because of time. And so, but I can control 20 gallons, at a time. That's roughly about 100 bottles, 20 to 40 gallons. It's roughly about 100 bottles at a time. And so we can control the taste, and we can control the consistency, of that taste, and the color. The color is very important to me. There's nothing like looking at it and, and seeing this rich brown color or this rich red color.
The other thing you mentioned was that, for instance, the pineapple mango, it makes sense to me, just at least from the outside looking in, that there wouldn't be a lot of existing pineapples or mangoes, and those are fruits that are not close to the places where barbecue sauce is.
Well, like I said, the new one that I'm making is strawberry.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if there are a lot of strawberries in barbecue sauce either.
Right.
And again, I did not do, I guess you call that market research. I didn't look out to see, what other people were doing. I don't know if you know this, but I'm from the fashion industry. I went to design school. I designed wedding gowns for about 10 years. And in design, it's like for me, I could not look in Vogue magazine, or I couldn't look in bridal magazines, because I would start to see designs and then think like, oh wow, I designed this, but you really didn't. You looked in the magazine and you saw it. Maybe it was a year ago, or it was 2 months ago, or whatever. But whenever I started to design, I would make sure that I did not pull references from other magazines or things like that.
So do you think that's something you're like actively keeping in mind now?
Absolutely.
Like,
so
you don't even try other barbecue sauces?
Nope. I don't try others, because what I don't want to do is to think, like, oh wow, this is something that just popped up in my mind and I wanted to, create it. And in reality, I might have tasted it because I tasted somebody else's barbecue sauce.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
all that saying, I'm just not wanting to be a copycat.
I think something maybe helpful in context is that this is something that you do, and you've been doing for, I think you said since 2019 was when you started the company, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I guess you also have another job that you're working on.
A little old small thing that I do. Yeah.
Maybe, do you think you could walk through like your distribution of time and responsibilities between these two animals?
Absolutely. So I do not sleep. That's the thing. Yes. So I think I work for ATDC. I am usually the first person that you would see when you come up on the floor. And I'm the program coordinator, and my job there is to create environment for our community.
Right.
And so that is a big job.
Yeah.
We have, over 100 companies, and I'm constantly thinking of things that I can do to bring people together.
Right.
So after a full day here, I usually get here about 6:30, and I'm usually done at about 3:30, and then I would go home, and then I would work, usually for about an hour. And then I would immediately go to sleep. I'm usually asleep by 6:30.
Oh my God.
And then I wake up again at around, probably at around 9.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm up, and then I'm up until about 2:33. And then I go to sleep, and then wake up again at 5 and start over.
Wow. So you have two different sleep cycles.
Yeah, I get very little sleep. So.
Oh my God. And in that second period where you're awake, is that mostly working on AubSauce?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm able to then send emails and answer, questions from my stores and things like that, and sometimes just trying to catch up.
And I guess, how did you decide? Like, you were, getting all this great feedback from people with AubSauce. What compelled you to say, like, you know what? Yeah, I can do this. I can do 2 full-time jobs at the same time.
I have no idea, but I will say this: I am having a ball doing it.
That's awesome.
And so, I really don't think about the time. That's one good thing. I need very little sleep, and so.
It just works out.
Yeah, it just works out.
Do you think there's ever a point where you would want to go full-time with AubSauce?
Maybe one day, but not right now.
Yeah.
So when I'm a little older now, and when I started my bridal company, I was in my 20s, and I was working for the Atlanta Hawks, and I just thought, hey, you went to design school, you have all of this great talent, let's put it to work. And I just announced that, hey, I'm leaving, I'm going to start my bridal company, and I did just that. And that was 10 to 15 years, and I'm not going to say it wasn't successful. It was very successful, but more not financially. Now I'm a little older, and I need to make sure that if I'm making that leap, that it is a good leap. I don't know that I can leap on faith right now.
Right.
Yeah.
As you know, the name of the podcast is My First Sale. And I think that for a lot of entrepreneurs, the idea of a first sale really drastically changes how someone thinks about the business. I mean, not just you yourself, but also your friends and your family. And like that first time somebody hands you cash, it really, it moves from a project into a business, So I wanted to hear if you remember what your first sale was like and what the story was around that.
So yes, so my first sale was really interesting. And so while there was no money exchanged for what we'll call the first sale, the story goes a little bit like this. I was still doing my customer discovery with the sauces, and by this time all 3 sauces were made. And so I was trying to decide the look, like where were we going to sell this sauce and things like that. And I knew right away that this was going to be more of a boutique brand type sauce. I was looking for nice kitchen stores or provisions type stores. And so I went to Savvy Provisions in my neighborhood. And I met with the manager, and I told her about this project that I was working on and asked if she would be willing to sample. She said, absolutely. So we set up a sampling, and she pulled her staff, and she absolutely loved the sauces. And just randomly, I asked, is this something that you could see selling, at Savvy? And she said to me, when you're ready, I want it in the store.
Wow.
And so, like I said, while there was no money that exchanged hands at that meeting, I knew that Savvy would be my first retail space, and they were, and it was successful. We took in a box, and they all sold out.
Oh my God! So that's when you knew it was serious.
Yeah, it was serious. And then I would look for my next sale, and then my next sale.
Oh, that's incredible. So right now, you sell online, and you also sell through retailers. Is that right?
Absolutely. I'm in 13 stores now, 13 or 14 retail stores across the country.
And are they mostly like locally owned type grocery stores?
Yes, I really do like I said, I like those small provision type stores. And provision type stores are like stores that sells beautiful cheeses and and homegrown type vegetables and things like that, artisan type items. And so I am partial to those type stores.
That makes sense. Do you feel like that's, I guess, like, which is more of a focus for you, online or selling to retailers?
I prefer to sell wholesale, and so that's my focus. But I also, if for some reason I'm not in a store in Oregon, I want you to be able to call me and get some AubSauce. So, I support both.
That makes sense.
I support my wholesale as well as the retail that comes from the website.
So right now, is it just you working on AubSauce?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like a lot of stuff on your plate.
Yeah,
literally and figuratively.
Yeah. So the challenges for me would be the day-to-day business, like accounting. Accounting is just not my my strong point. And so but I find that you have to do it. I have to learn it. And luckily I have lots of friends that understand it, and I'm being taught something new every day.
Are you thinking about bringing people on to help?
Yes, soon. I will probably hire, my mother will probably be my first hire.
Aww.
She retired a few years ago, and she's very interested in coming aboard, and so I think she'll be the first hire.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Are you apprehensive at all about working with family, or is that something you...
No, not at all. I sort of like people. I mentioned that the co-packer, I felt that she was sort of motherly, and she was sort of like, I felt that she was going to take care of me. There's no better person than your mother to sort of take care of you, and then to take care of business. And I really feel that my mother would watch out, for me, and she has a background in, in doing things like this. So I think she'll be perfect.
I mean, with the Kickstarter itself, like, how did you know that was the right decision, and how were you able to be successful on it?
So, to be honest, I didn't know. A friend, Christian, sort of suggested, he said, I think you should raise the funds through Kickstarter. And he said, and that's just a way of testing, if this is a good idea. And I knew that I sort of had to think of it like if someone sent me a link and they were asking me to invest into their idea, I had to think about what they would want to see, or what I would want to see if they were sending me a link. And so I wanted to make sure that I was telling a story, and I wanted beautiful photographs. I wanted you to be able to see my vision through that Kickstarter. And I'm just about positive that that's what I did. And I think that's why people reacted very quickly. I don't know if you know that my initial goal was to raise $5,000, and I actually raised the $5,000 in 24 hours.
Oh my God.
And so we doubled the original ask by the end of the campaign. So it was very important that you could actually see and feel my vision from that, and like I said, I think we did it.
That's incredible. Yeah, I think it's really interesting hearing people's stories of Kickstarter, because sometimes it just completely falls flat and they don't know why, and sometimes it just completely explodes and maybe they still don't know why. Is that something you would consider doing it again?
No. I want to do it again. Yeah. I don't know. It was fun that one time, and but it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think the fulfillment was the hardest part, like just being able to actually send people the stuff and get it out to them on time?
So I don't think that it's not about just sending an email. I had to make people, like leading up, I had to sort of let them know what was happening. I made sure that anybody that I sent an email to, there was a conversation. They were almost expecting the email because they knew what I was working on.
Yeah.
So it's almost like marketing a bit. Like, I think that's a job. Like, probably creating the Kickstarter is a job in itself.
Yeah.
It's a campaign. And so just like a political campaign, you have to go out and you have to tell people the story and get them to vote for you. And so in this one, you have to go out and you have to tell the story and get them to, give you $25. So
that's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Where do you see the vision for AubSauce going in the next, say, 3 years, 5 years?
So in the next 3 years, I would love to be in beautiful little shops, all across the country. And I want to be in all the best magazines. So I have this thing about Southern Living. I want to be in Southern Living and Garden and Guns and Atlanta Magazine. So
there you go.
Those are small goals, but yeah, I definitely could. In the next 5 years, I would really like to expand the stores that I sell to.
For consumer products, especially, like creating that brand that, something recognizable, something memorable is super important. How did you come up with some of that stuff?
So I worked with a Georgia Tech student, Lily Gluck, and she is amazingly talented. And when we sat together the first time, she asked me the vision, like what did I like? And I just remember saying that I liked clean lines, and we put together a sort of like a storyboard of other packaging designs that I liked. And so she came back with probably about 100 different just ideas of what she thought. These were just pencil sketches. And so I think I picked 3, and from those 3, within the next week, we had settled on the label and logo that I have now. And we worked very well together. I love the color. She just totally created my brand story, the brand language. And I think the collaboration was probably some of the best work that I've done design-wise.
Yeah, I mean, it looks so professional.
And so I love that it literally jumps off of the shelf, because I didn't want to have packaging where you would normally see the black man on the cover, of the barbecue sauce. I definitely did not want that. Yeah. I actually didn't want my face, anywhere on it. And so it looks very classic, and it looks maybe that this is the barbecue sauce that Martha Stewart would use, or the late B. Smith, or Ina Garten, if they were having a barbecue. So it's just very clean and pretty.
As you know, the last section that I usually do is a rapid fire round.
Okay, I'm ready.
You ready to go? All right. So I'm just going to throw a topic out there and you give me a take. All right.
Okay.
Your favorite AubSauce?
Peach sauce.
Your least favorite AubSauce?
I don't have a least favorite AubSauce.
Your favorite barbecue sauce that's not yours?
So it would probably be, there's this really cheap one called, what's the name of it? It's Sweet Baby Ray's, yeah. Maybe I shouldn't say cheap one. But yeah, it's inexpensive, and it's just good. I really do like Sweet Baby Ray's.
Your favorite barbecue joint in Atlanta?
So since I only eat chicken, in Norcross, the name of the shop is JR Smokehouse.
I think we've kind of been through this, but your favorite type of barbecued dish?
Chicken.
Any particular type of just pulled chicken?
So I love like grilled chicken wings and grilled thighs. Those are my favorite.
How come?
I don't know. I think it's really juicy. Yeah, I like when I grill mine skin on. I like to get the skin really crispy, and and then put some AubSauce peach sauce on there.
Selling online versus selling in person?
I really do like to sell in person. I love to tell the story, and I want to talk to you, and I want to give you some ideas of how to use it. And I love the expressions. And I've been known to go to my retailers. So I like to do what I call go to visits to see the AubSauce. And so you can sometimes find me in Buford Highway Farmers Market, where I will be dusting off the sauce and polishing it, and so people will see me and ask me what am I doing. And so usually when I'm there, I can actually sell a few bottles. Because the minute they ask me, I immediately go into like, oh my God, this is my new sauce, you should try it. I've even been known to open up a bottle and and give them a taste.
May as well. Running a business while also having another job?
Hard.
Yeah. Would you recommend it to people?
Yes.
Recommend it over doing the business full time?
So what I would say is there's a guy that I listen to, a podcast called Side Hustle School. And so every business does not have to be a business that you leave your job for. It might be something that's just fulfilling to you. Maybe you're just wanting to get your creativity out, and you're making lovely little pot holders. I don't know what it is you're doing. Right now, doing the two works for me. And so I would not advise someone to just because you came up with an idea to leave your job right away. I still think there's some testing that needs to be done, and so I'm definitely still in the testing stage, and I would not advise people to just run away from their livelihood.
Fair enough. Do you think you'll ever sell something that's not barbecue sauce?
Oh, absolutely. I'm already working on rubs, and then down the line I will probably come out with a sausage. I have an idea for some sausage, some things that I've been playing around with. It was actually suggested, it'll be fresh.
Okay.
So it was suggested to me by a coworker, and I thought, wow, that's a great idea. And so I've been testing it.
So are you just like at home on
just
random
cooking
days?
up
Cooking up some stuff? Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Incredible. And last thing is, like, where should people find you?
Oh, so on social media, you can find me at AubSauce Co. I'm across the board. I'm Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And then via email, you can always reach me at Aubrey@aubsauce.com.
Just spell AubSauce real quick.
That's AubSauce. And then the website, of course, is www. Gotta say that at aubsauce.com.
Perfect. Thanks everyone for listening. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions, any suggestions, or if you or someone else you know would like to be on the next episode. And if you're thinking about starting a business, what are you waiting for? Do it already.